So I now become aware. Is my hand relaxed? And you sort of reflect back and you say, yes, my hand's relaxed. Well, the way you would use this would be to work through your body, maybe starting at the feet, working up, or maybe you could start with your forehead, relaxing your forehead and work down. But it might sound something like this, you know. Think about your feet. Curl the toes of your feet tight up inside. Tight, tight, squeezing your toes against your feet. Now extend your toes, extend and relax. Relax your toes. Tight and relaxed. Notice the difference between being tight and being relaxed. Now the arch in your shoes. Your arch, tighten the arch of your foot. Tighter, tighter. Now, I'm doing that inside my tennis shoes, although you can't see. Okay, flatten your feet out now, relax your feet. And now your ankles, and now your calves, now your knees, now your thighs, your quads, your hips, your buttocks, your stomach, your back, your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your head and your neck, and your jaw, and your forehead and your scalp, you know, and you go through the whole body kind of a thing. So much so that you become aware of how each body part feels. And you practice this over and over again. Now, does this notion, this idea of moving through the body, remind you of anything? Remember the exercise that you had early on this week? And Bob Monroe said in his big voice, say to yourself, say to your left foot, relax, let go. Sleep. Okay? And he worked through your body that way.
You just done a hypnotic induction. Does this mean that the Hemi-Sync is basically hypnosis? Induction?
Hemi-Sync and hypnotic induction, or this part, this relaxed part, can be very similar. Hypnosis is much more intense, and I'll show you an example of that. But the idea of gaining personal control of your body and the idea of hypnotic induction through the same concept are very, very similar. I'll give you an example of hypnosis. Now, this idea of going through the parts of the body, which Bob Monroe, you know, worked up all the way through the body, then you pull the sheet up and so forth and so on, that's not on the exercises that you have now. But that's been replaced by something called the preparation process. There's a time space in the exercise for doing your preparation process. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be, you know, checking out, is your body relaxed? Okay, fine. Okay, and it's there. Okay, it's fine. Okay. You know, you're supposed to actually physically think about, am I relaxed? Am I doing okay? You probably don't have to work anymore all the way through the feet all the way up. If you're having trouble relaxing because you're a little nervous about something, then you might go through the routine. Your body sort of knows what that is now. But it may be that you don't have to do that anymore. There is a Pavlov effect happening. You climb in the booth, you close the curtain, you turn out the light, set your ready light on, lay down, put your head, your body is sort of clued in. When they do this, we know what's about to happen, okay? So there is a sort of a routine or a ceremony that your body is now accustomed to doing when you go into the booth. But you're supposed to be thinking about getting relaxed comfortably during this window called the preparation process. Now, you asked about the idea of hypnotic induction. I had never been hypnotized till about about 8 years ago, when man that went through the gateway here happened to be a professional psychologist, had been working in the field for many, many years, and said, well, next time you visit Colorado on your lecture tour, why don't you stop by and we'll run a hypnotic session for you. So I took advantage of that. I called him up, and he met me in the hotel room, and we went through in a hypnotic induction, which was really cool. I'd never been hypnotized before. What he did with a couple of extra steps, he said, first of all, Skip, we need to have a relaxation measuring device so that you know how relaxed you're getting. And he says, this is going to be a mental tool that you use. And the best thing that works is something that, if you imagine something like a thermometer, and this thermometer goes from 0 all the way up to 100, and you could actually go over 100 if you wanted. And so if you close your eyes now, Skip, look at this meter, close your eyes and tell me, how relaxed are you on this meter that goes like a thermometer from 0 to 100, and maybe it goes over 100. And so I closed my eyes and I said, well, it's about 65, 68 now. He says, oh, good, that's good, okay. He says, now the other thing that you're going to need as a mind tool is you're going to need some sort of a switch. Can you bring to mind a switch that you think about, that sort of something you can always visualize? And I said, yeah, this switch is in my greenhouse out where the hot tub is, and it turns on and off the air circulation. It's brown, an old-fashioned brown plastic switch with a toggle in the middle of it. But it's definitely brown and has little, you know, I'm getting it into my mind really good. He says, okay, good. Yeah. So he goes into a relaxation thing, he starts talking about my feet and feel my feet and this, that, and the other thing and so forth and so on. And then he says, you know, breathe deep, blah, 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 feel your feet, blah, 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 think about your feet. Okay, now think about your right foot. Think about your foot relaxing and getting warmer, relaxing and getting warmer. And he says, now think about that switch. Remember the switch you talked about? Imagine now that you have a switch in the ankle of your right foot. Can you see the switch in the ankle of your right foot, Skip? Yes, I see it. Okay. Now, in your mind, reach down, and turn off that switch. Okay? Now enjoy this feeling as all tension in your foot goes away, because you've turned off the switch. Okay, so he goes, you know, through to my knees and my other foot, and then the switch here and the switch there. And he gets up to about my waist and he says, now Skip, look at your relaxation meter. What does your relaxation meter say now? And I say, oh, it's up to 85 now. Oh, very good, Skip. Now, let's continue. So he gets you invested in this. He gets you invested in it through his suggestions. But it worked really well, you know, the whole idea of doing that. But the more investment you had in being in control of yourself, with your little switches and your own meter and everything, you understood that you then were the one that was inducing yourself. You weren't saying, what are you going to do to me when you hypnotize me? Am I going to bark like a dog? What's going to happen here? Because you were definitely in control of those things. But they are similar kinds of things, capturing the relaxation of the body.
It's maybe premature, but of course one of the aspects of hypnosis is hypersuggestibility. Does that occur under Hemi-Sync as well?
We've actually done some studies, and you can ask Shirley about the studies. There's been hypnotists who have asked, when somebody scores on poor suggestibility standards, would using Hemi-Sync increase their scores and to make them more sensitive to hypnosis? In other words, you want to hypnotize this person to help them stop smoking, yet they don't score well at all on the suggestibility scale. Can we change that? Can they practice with some Hemi-Sync for a while and change that? And there's been some studies done on that. Ask Shirley about them and she'll give you those studies. So we want to move on to the second ingredient now. You have a sense of the first thing that we're going to do in this Hemi-Sync process is the idea of physical relaxation. The second thing is paying attention to your breathing. Paying attention to this process of breathing. Now, the idea of breathing is usually something that's unconscious. It's autonomic. We don't pay attention to it. We don't think about taking the next breath. We just do. So I'm suggesting here that you take some time in your preparation process to turn your attention to this thing called breathing, to this idea of breathing that is normally an unconscious process. Pay attention to it for a little bit. Pay attention to this process. Now, this again is not so strange when you think of different meditation techniques. In yoga, you pay attention to your breathing, prana, the breath of life. In ki energy or chi energy, depending on whether you're in Japan or China, the idea of paying attention to breath in martial arts and the different poses you go into and the different blows are all key to the breath and the projection of ki energy or chi energies, depending whether it's karate or kung fu. Now, otherwise in the world,